Debbie from Crafting Chaos, and I know I'm looking up, but I have to set my camera up like this so that I can show you what I'm going to be doing. I am showing a project making traveler's notebook pockets. Here's one I did, and here's another one using some Brimbles paper, and I want to show you how easy that is to make. So I'm going to drop down the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So first, some of the items that you need to do this. Now some of this is optional. It's just these are the things I use. A corner rounder. This is a We Are Memories Keeper one. I have a pair of scissors. A circle punch. Paper cutter. I have a scoreboard. These are a couple of these things you can get by with if you don't own them, but they're really nice if you do. So you're going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 paper, and if you have pattern on it, I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you have pattern on it, you've got to make sure it's not a pattern like with the ice creams. If you bend or if you fold that up, you're going to see that it's upside down. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like if I was going to use this as my back piece, then when I folded this up, the inside pockets would have upside down ice cream on it. So we can't have that. So this is what I'm going to use for the inside of the pocket. Now let me get a piece of paper because I missed that for the outside. I'm just going to use a piece of white paper because it was the quickest I could find. So on this piece of paper, you're going to want to cut your paper at 9.5 by 12. Now if you are using pattern paper, like this one, this pattern, it didn't matter because once I folded it in, as you can see, it still looked just as good because there's nothing that is directional. So if you're using pattern paper, it's definitely okay to use pattern paper. It's just that if it's like ice creams, or on the other one I did, the Suns, they would have been upside down. So this first piece of paper you're going to want to cut at 9.5 by 12. So get your paper cutter out and cut that 9.5 by 12. I'm not a pro at doing videos, so if I'm a little awkward, that's why. Okay, so now we have this piece of paper and it's 9.5 by 12. Now we're going to take our scoreboard. And again, this is optional because you could score it with just a bone folder if you wanted. And you're going to score a half an inch on each side of the long piece. Or the long side, I'm sorry. 9.5. Then you're going to flip it the opposite way and you're going to score at 4 inches. I'll have these directions on the blog post as well, so that if you don't catch it or if you just want the measurements, they'll be there. And then this is another thing I forgot to do last time. You're going to also want to score down the middle. So this is 9.5, so you're going to go 4 3/4 to do your middle score. Now at this point I go ahead, move this out of the way, and I go ahead and fold my scores. So you'll fold those all real good. The neater you, or the better you fold these, the neater it's going to look. Again, I don't usually do YouTube videos, so I'm sorry if I'm going to maybe mess up a little bit. I'm trying to stay in the camera. Okay, so we got that done. Now, you're going to take your scissors, and right here at the bottom, where you scored up to 4 inches, you're going to cut this little section out that's right here. I'll show you. And do the same on this side. And go inside that score line so you make sure you get it cut out good. Then, so your paper's going to look like this now. Now, you're also going to want to cut this little area here. Just cut it at a slight angle. That just helps it to when you fold it over, it folds nicer. So see that? Okay. Now we're going to take our ice cream paper, which is going to be the inside of the pocket, and we're going to cut this at about 8 by 8.5. And you can fudge that number a little bit if it fits too tight, and I'll show you what I mean by that, because it's once in a while you might have to go just slightly below that. So I'm going to cut this at 8 by 8.5. Now I gotta make sure of which way I'm doing the 8.5. This is 8. Okay, so it should be 8.5 on the tall end. So go over to 8.5. Then we're gonna turn it and do 8. So now you got 8.5 by 8. Now move your cutting board out of the way and then bring back over your scoreboard. And while we got that handy, we're just going to go ahead and score this in the middle. So that would be 4 1/4. So score down 4 1/4. And then go ahead and fold. And obviously I want the ice cream on the inside, so I'm folding it in like this. Now I've seen a lot of people make these and they make them a little different way, than not everybody makes things the same way. The easiest way to me is to do it this way. And then while you've got this paper out and folded, you might as well, a lot of people do this after they've inserted this piece, and I think it's easier to just do it while you got it out. Just take your circle punch, find the middle, or what's pretty close to the middle, and use half of the punch to punch out. Whoa, that went flying. So you have your little notches for your pocket. And bring back over this. You're also going to need some scrap paper to put underneath your paper when you're putting the glue on. So then now that's going to fit in there. But first we've got to do one other thing. Because you want your angles right here for your pockets, you're going to fold this in half again, the base piece. Bring over your paper cutter again. Now let me make sure I'm doing this right. And you're going to cut. Now this you can do it however you want it, but I mean you can go as far over as you want on the angle, but as you can see, I'm going to cut from this point here on the fold over. I'm leaving just a little bit right here, maybe 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to slice up that. So now this is what it looks like when you've got it folded in half. Get that out of the way. See that? So that when you do open this back up, this is what the paper looks like. Hopefully these angles are okay so you can see this, but and then that would be your flaps. So now you'll take the insert, or the inside, and you're going to butt it up in that corner. Make sure you get it in that corner really good. Now see, you can see I probably need to cut just a smidge off of this because it's a little taller than my paper. That's why I said sometimes you have to fudge my number on the cut. So slightly under 8.5. And then you'll butt that up in the corner. And you'll do one side at a time so that you can handle it. Get your glue stick. Glue sticks work better for this. I don't usually use glue sticks, but this is a good use for glue sticks. So now you're going, another thing I would like to do, I should have told you this first, but where you see this start, or this end, this flap, take your scissors and snip this outside piece just a hair there, and I'll show you why you're going to do that in a second. Let me go ahead and attach this one real quick. So you're going to put glue on this top piece, since we put that slit in there, and then fold that down. Work that down real good. And I can see that I'm going to need to trim a little off of here too, because it's fitting kind of tight. So then you're going to put your flap down before you do this second half of this tab, and then fold that over. Now I'm going to snip a little of this off of this side, off camera here, sorry, just because I think it needs to be just a smidge off there. So when you do your cuts, when you do the 8.5 and the 8, just go just a slightly under those measurements, because that way it just doesn't fit too tight. But I don't know what those little numbers are to really tell you, so it's really easier for me just to say 8.5, and then you kind of trim a little off. Okay, so I'm going to put this flap up so I can see where to snip this side again. And then we'll do glue on this side. And fold it over. And then glue the last half of that side and fold it over. And now you have your pocket folder. And see, you have pockets here, you have a pocket here, and you can make modifications to this. You could bring this pocket all the way over and put another slit in it for like credit cards. You could also add another pocket in here, so you'd have another one halfway through here. But makes a quick, cute traveler's note pocket folder. But another thing that makes it even nicer is if you go ahead and round the corners. Now this is optional, but I think it looks good if you round the corners. My paper's pretty thick, so I'm going to do one corner at a time. Sometimes I can fit two in there, but this is going to be bulky. But you want to do this corner here too, because with your with the band that goes into your that holds your pocket in, it makes it fit in there easier without tearing up your paper. So do all of the corners. Again, optional, but it makes it a nice finished look. But see, now you have a little snip down here where your band will fit in there and up here, so that it doesn't tear your paper. So I hope this made sense. Again, I don't do videos very often. I haven't done one in years, so I hope it was okay. I'd like to start getting more comfortable with it, because I'm not very comfortable with videos, but I'm gonna try. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.